when we launched to our email list, we had one sale. I think we had 10,000 people plus we had in the list in just one sale. It was not an immediate success. It was not profitable. It was not scalable. It was not truly clicking yet. On the third month, that's when we were starting to do 30K a month consistently, and then 60K range a month. Every quarter, we were like moving up. The first full year of business, so 2022, we did 600K. 2023, we grew it up to 7 figures. In 2024, we have almost doubled the business, and 2025 last year was our best year. We realized we were not profitable. We were negative every single month. We were very angry at ourselves. We were pissed. And you're like, okay, enough of bullshit. And then you cut everything that is not serving you, that is a distraction, that is too expensive. After we did that, we felt more in control. The business allowed my sister and I to repatriate him to Switzerland so that he could get surgery. Without the business, we would never have been able to. When there is a need in your family or in your surrounding, you can help.
If someone was watching this, what's one thing that you could tell them that if they implemented it tomorrow, they'd get a return on investment?
One big thing. My name is Leonie. I co-run Oyo Skincare with my sister since 2021. So Oyo Skincare is an intimate skincare and hair removal brand that we created for women. So we basically help women with all the irritation, ingrowns, and skin problems they might have around hair removal.
Yeah, great. How did you come up with the business idea, or the first product, I guess?
We actually took a course from Greta Van Riel at the time. And there was a process there that I really enjoyed. She just gave us that exercise to think about your day from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, and just identify problems or things that you are frustrated about. So I did that for myself, and then from the moment you wake up, you brush your teeth and stuff, I was just trying to find out what is actually a problem that I'm having, that I'm frustrated about, I don't have a solution, and I think other women might be dealing with. Because I wanted to find an idea that I can relate to, because everything else is just easier then with marketing and stuff. So I was playing my day, a typical day in my head. And then in the bathroom, many frustrations. And that was one of them, hair removal and all the skin problems you can have before and after. And I was 99% sure that a lot of other women were struggling with that as well.
For sure. And lots of people have ideas and understand problems. How did you actually get the first product onto the shelf from the concept?
So we identified the problem first, but that's not the product. So then we were like, okay, this is a problem. First thing we did was to validate that problem. Is this actually something that people struggle with? So we did that first. We talked to, friends. We jumped in forums, Facebook groups. We even went to the streets with my sister in Lausanne, I remember, and we asked girls randomly. And everyone just like, yes, no, I have nothing. I don't know what to do. But yes, it's a problem. And it's some of them, it was funny because it's kind of taboo, right? It's like the intimate areas. So I saw the potential there in marketing, also challenges. But so we validated that with a lot of women first. And then Lisa is my sister, we had to figure out, okay, well, what can be done to solve that issue, and that can also fit in the e-commerce business model. And then we just immediately, thought about skincare. We were already big in skincare with my sister, and we just noticed that there was not brands in intimate skincare. There was not a lot of brands. We started going to physical retail stores just to see what's out there in the markets, and all we could see was just like feminine washes. That's it. And then all the products for your periods and maybe deodorants, like intimate deodorants, but there was no like skincare. There were no cleansers or oils, or just like this type of skincare that you use on your face or your body. There was not that for intimate skin. So from that, then it led us just to focus on, okay, let's look for what type of products can help with that, the ingredients and stuff. And then when we had an idea, and the idea was to come up with a routine, like a treatment, not just one product. we started to look for suppliers, manufacturers. We knew we were not able to, I mean, we didn't want to go the route of, developing our own formulas with a chemist and then develop. It takes a lot of time and a lot of money, and we didn't have that in mind. We knew we just had to find a great manufacturer, private label, white label, to start with, someone who has a great catalog of products already, a big one in high quality, and it's just made everything easier and faster. So we found a manufacturer for that. And then, we started with 3 products. We ordered 300 units per product at a time. So that was like an investment of 3 to 5K. The manufacturer did everything, the packaging, shipment to the warehouse, everything. So that was easy in that sense. And of course, the products were great. And that's how we started. Then, we had to set up the Shopify store, prep the ads, and just, figure out the offer, of course, and launch and
Yeah.
test and see.
You did pretty much everything right. And if you think about it, like you found what we call blue ocean, meaning there's nobody selling it. Like a lot of people were kind of problem aware, but not product aware or even brand aware for that exact thing. You went and talked to customers to make sure that that was actually true, because like a lot of people assume that they're like, oh, there's nothing in the store, so it's fine. It's just like, no, but they're solving it from another issue. Then you didn't commit to something huge like $30,000 order, which might have been which is a lot of money for most people starting a business. You started small, tested, and learned. How did it go after that launch?
Not as expected, to be honest. So when I think the fact that we validated and we spent time like researching, validating, and figuring out the market product fit, like, and then the offer. Once we knew what products we wanted to launch and what like routine or treatment we wanted to propose to people, to women specifically, we then had to put on our marketer's hat and like, okay, this is great, but now we need to sell it and we need to put the offer together, like the angle, everything we needed to figure out. But when you start from scratch, you have no idea what works. So we had assumptions, and we're like, okay, let's start with these 3 main angles. So when we launched, we prepared 3 different angles, and we made different ads. On these angles, we went full UGC videos, no studio content, no not even statics. We started straight up with like just UGC videos because we thought, it's an intimate topic, just like natural, UGC videos with women talking about their struggles and introducing the products might work. So, we were preparing for that. It took us like 6 months to prepare everything, the site, waiting for production and all of that. And then I remember we run ads to grow an email list for the launch. And we spent not much money, but for us at the time it was not nothing. We maybe spent like a few $1,000s over like weeks just to gather emails. And we gathered like a big email list. So we were very happy. And then when we launched our email list, we had 1 sale. So that was, honestly, at that moment, my sister and I, we looked at each other like, oops, maybe all of that was just like an illusion. And we didn't understand nothing about like the market or nothing. Because it just 1 sale. Can you imagine? I think we had over 1,000 people, if not 10,000 people plus we had in the list in just 1 sale.
And you did the right content format, building excitement. What went wrong with that launch?
I have no idea. We didn't run ads. We were running like lead generation type of ads.
Okay.
It was
So
like very simple.
not conversion ads. It was just the wrong structure on Facebook.
Yeah, and the landing page was just like a sign-up form. So there was no education. We couldn't show products because we didn't have the photography. It was just like a headline. And, I think, I don't know, maybe we just got like cheap Facebook traffic to sign up to our product. It was not optimized for sales, the campaign. So I don't know, it was the first time I did like an email sign up form type of campaign on Meta. But then we're like, okay, let's ignore this failure, and let's just continue with the plan. And the plan was to launch the ads in September 2021. And so then we launched. We already had experience before because we had a brand before that, a small brand, and before we were drop shipping for a year. So we had experience already with Facebook. But when we launched, even in ads, it was not an immediate success. We had like a few sales, like some signal, but it was not profitable. It was not scalable. It was not truly clicking yet.
Yeah. Well, it's like you're in the most expensive niche, really, skincare. Beauty, it's one of the most difficult niches to get to work. But you managed to at least crack it now. Would you say, was it slow going after you had a couple of sales, figuring out Facebook? What's the thing? Because I think there's a lot of people listening right now that probably had a similar launch to you. Did all of the work, did the email list, bought the wrong traffic, but what was the thing that you would recommend all of them to kind of do to get their first sales and start getting it moving?
Yeah. So I think for us, it was just consistency of keep testing, the ads for us, the ads was the main thing. It was like the ads that were not really grabbing people's attention. The metrics were not that great. The hook rates and the CTRs, like the ads were not getting the click. So I'm like, okay, let's just focus on ads. And okay, these three angles didn't work. Maybe with these three creators, let's just change the creators. Let's do different type of ad formats. It was like a testimonial type of ad that we did for three different angles. Then we just changed. We did like product demonstration. We did unboxing videos. We just like explored a lot of different formats by following what great DTC brands were doing at the time. And eventually it took us like a couple months to start getting like the campaign to work for us. So it took 4 to 8 weeks to just like see what the new ads that we were launching every week or every 2 weeks to work. And I would just say consistently keep testing. If you did the research, if you did everything right, I mean, you're not an idiot. Like if you are at that stage of launching ads, it means that, there's some logic behind the brand, behind everything else. And if you know that there are brands that are selling this product category and they're big and they're successful, why not you? So just keep testing and keep finding your messaging and your main angle.
You're very highly skilled at Facebook ads as a founder. Where does that come from, and how do you learn that?
Dropshipping.
Dropshipping.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you did dropshipping before your business. What did you do, and how did that help your journey?
Yeah. So that's how I started ecom in the first place. In 2019, I bought a course by Yomi Denzel. He's Swiss, and I am Swiss, so I was like, okay, I trust this guy
Awesome.
just because he's Swiss as well. And he did the same university as I did, so I was like, okay, I have no idea what this is, but I was looking for an online business and just like doing something digital and e-commerce. I mean, drop shipping really spoke to me because it's digital, but at the same time it's physical because there's product and stuff. So I bought the course, and then I just started the drop shipping journey, which is testing products. Until it works. You have to find the right product at the right moment, and figure out a way to market it to people so they buy it. And so we did with my sister. She joined me. We did that for a year nonstop. Every week, every 2 weeks, we were testing products, we were testing videos, we were testing ads, we were testing angles. So I think that's just a muscle we built, and it took us maybe 4 months to find our first winner. And when we found our first winning product back then, that's when we saw the power and the potential. Oh wow! When you
How many sales? How many sales did you get that winner to?
it's it was a long time ago, but I
Yeah,
remember, we scaled this product to maybe 7K a day. For us, it was insane at the
that's
time.
awesome.
And I think for a month or a month and a half, we were selling this product, and we made our first $100,000 in sales. So
It's
that was
amazing.
massive for us. And since then, we're like, okay, it works, and then you just keep going.
The only reason I ask what your sales were back then, because obviously your current business is far, far bigger than that, which we'll get into in a second. But I think you did the perfect path there as well, which is you learn acquisition through drop shipping, which
Hmm.
reduces the variables. You know, e-commerce is so multifaceted. We've got operations, we've got creating the
Yes.
product, we've got building the website, we've got doing the marketing, we've got doing the customer services, so much. By doing drop shipping initially, I never drop shipped. I kind of wish I did in the early days. And that's why I teach it to so many people, because it removes all of those other variables and allows you to just focus on, marketing,
Yes.
communicating an angle. But then
Absolutely.
I also agree with there's a point where you stop drop shipping because and building a brand that has enterprise value that you can end up selling. And it sounds like you've done that exact path. Do you have any advice? What's the difference between, you would say, drop shipping and the branding, and how have you really developed that brand skill set?
Yeah. So I think when I discovered dropshipping, I already knew from the beginning that I wanted ultimately to create an e-commerce brand. But dropshipping was the best school for that. So my plan was just, okay, I'm going to start with dropshipping to make some cash. And then with that cash, I'm going to, build an e-com brand. But the difference is that dropshipping, although it's very marketing focused, you learn marketing very fast. You learn market product fit very fast, and you exercise a lot because you have to keep testing all the time, all the time, all the time. And the lifetime of your product or your store is uncertain, or very short. It's not, for me, it's not sustainable, this business model, and is can also be very stressful, because you find a product that wins, great, but you have no differentiator real, like there's nothing preventing from other people to do the same as you, and then you just like lose. It's what happens with dropshipping. You find a winner, then other people see you have a winner, they sell it, and then it's over for you. So the difference is just that it's the longevity, and also building something that has value and that you can potentially maybe in the future sell. And I with an ecom brand, everything is just more predictable, stable. You're building something real that is yours, that is unique. Not everyone can just like copycat you like this. And for me, those are the big differentiators.
Yeah, for sure. So it was 2021 you launched, right? OYO Skincare. You got out of the
Hmm.
drop shipping game. And
Yes.
then tell me how the sales have grown like over time. I guess just the business, team, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So was just my sister and I at the beginning. Of course, we bootstrapped it completely. We just used freelancers for certain things like branding and things like that, but nothing crazy. No team at the beginning. So we started, like I said, it took us like a couple months to see traction. I think on the third month, that's when we were starting to do 30K a month consistently. And I looked back at the numbers before joining just to remember myself. And I think every 3 months, that's when we had like breakthroughs. So for 3 months, we were like in the 30K range a month, and then 60K range a month. And then so every quarter, we were like moving up. But yes, the first full year of business, so 2022, we did 600K in revenue in total. Then 2023, we grew it up to seven figures, multiple seven figures. And then from that year, we grew even more. So 2024, that's when we joined Daily Mentor in February. In 2024, we have almost doubled the business. And 2025 last year was our best year, and we essentially tripled the business since we joined Daily Mentor. And that's the growth journey that we've had.
Yeah. It's been over 12 months, yeah, in Daily Mentor. It's been crazy to
Yes.
see you grow. Like it still has been those almost unlocks, like those new tranches of growth
Yeah.
every time you just optimize it. But I think the thing that a lot of people miss about that is it's not like you go do something new and then it unlocks. It's still about like we're doing our core business here, and we're still optimizing that more and more and more and more. What would you say the main unlocks that you have had to get that crazy growth?
I think the first one is just finding your hero angle with ads, with offer and the whole messaging. Really, that was the biggest unlock. It takes some time to find it, but once you have it, you know it because everything just everything just gets better. So messaging is a big thing. Then I would say how you how you position your product in the market. I think we were lucky because it was a blue ocean. Like there in the UK, that's where we started. That's where we launched the brand. There were not a lot of brands doing intimate skincare or daring to show like the photos or videos of that those parts, those body parts. So for us, I think we had an advantage that it was like a blue ocean. So it was not too crowded for us in our niche, although the beauty space is competitive. So we had that on our side, but we also had challenges because it was intimate skin. We were having a lot of ads flagged and removed from Facebook, things like that. So you just have to work around it. But I think Meta and finding the winning messaging was the biggest unlock.
Mhm.
Then the other unlock, I don't know if it's an unlock, but just not hiring agencies. We lost a lot of money and time with agencies at the beginning. We were too small for that, and we got distracted. And I think you don't need that when you start. Personally, I
Mm.
wouldn't recommend a friend tomorrow starting an e-com brand to hire an agency. I think, especially for marketing, I think this is one thing that you do want to master as a founder. And if you don't master, why would you hire someone to do it for you? And it's going to be very expensive, and you probably cannot afford it. Or if you can, then there's nothing left for you. Yeah, there's that. And then a more recent unlock, I think, is just okay. So you find a messaging, you're scaling, that's great. But as volume goes up, expenses goes up, you start to hire people, and just everything gets more complicated. And what you're lacking is structure. You don't have structure, you don't have organization, you have nothing of that. And I think my biggest unlock was to build that structure as we were scaling year over year. I don't think we had like a massive exponential growth. I know some brands they go from 0 to 1 million in a year or under a year or even in 6 months. We didn't have that. But I think we were successful at just like figuring out how to set the foundations every year. Okay, now we grew this much. The business is doing well and stuff, but are we actually very efficient and structured? No, because it's a bit chaotic in here and in there. So structure was the big unlock, and you're never done with structure. We're still
Mm.
structuring the business.
Yeah.
Yeah, those things among others.
It's interesting. I find the hiring agency debate that is also a form of structure because what we're talking about is we're talking about outputs, we're talking about resources. I think that's something that you've done as I've watched you grow. It has been really impressive. You and both your sister, like deciding when to hire a freelancer, when to take something on yourself. So at the let's say $1 million mark, approximately, or even just like certain thresholds, what were the kind of main things that you were just like, yep, no, I'm going to keep owning this? Has it always been meta, or has it been like, no, let's hire a freelancer now, or let's hire an A player, like a more senior person? Because I think a
Yeah.
lot of people get those kind of tiers wrong. Is there some stage or inflection point that really stands out for you that like that was a key hire that got you to that next level as we talked about?
Yeah, I think the first year on the road to the first million, you want to own the highest impact thing of your business. And to us, that was Meta because we were acquiring people through Meta. But then, as get Meta, as you are scaling Meta ads for your brand, you are building the ecosystem around it, right? So you need customer service. That's the first thing because you're going to start receiving emails and it's something repetitive. So you start doing it maybe at the beginning, but then you see it's not worth it putting your time and energy there. So you're going to hire a VA, for example, first for customer service. That was our first hire. Then, okay, so Meta ads are doing well. You're doing everything, creative strategy, ads. That was my main craft. But then, there's email. I'm not an expert in email. I know it takes time. There's flows, there's campaigns, all of that. We were scaling enough to hire someone. So we hired a part-time email marketing freelancer. And then okay, we're scaling a bit more. Then Google Ads is like a nice support to have when you have Meta running. So we initially started doing it ourselves, but it was a bit too technical for us. So we hired then someone else, and we were just doing like this. So we were hiring people who could do those level, like those supports that Meta ads needed to be optimized over time. And that's just how it grew. And then when you start having recurring needs like graphic design, video editing for your ads, or even copywriting, then you look for those freelancers and you maybe keep them on the side for the future. And then over time, they just become part of your team. And that's how we did.
Yeah, I I can't fault that structure. I think that's what I would recommend for 90% of brands where you're currently at. I think Google is a bit of set and forget. If Google isn't your main, it's a bit of demand capture, just getting the brand search captured, that kind of stuff. Not huge budgets. It's probably not worth your time. It's not high leverage.
Yeah.
So I think you did perfectly there. If someone was watching this, what's one thing that you could tell them that you think that if they implemented it tomorrow, they'd get a return on investment and grow their brand? Just like a small hack. Whether it's being daily mentor, you can share our secrets if you want, or share your own.
There are many things, but I think the ones I can think of right now. So one big thing actually was from Daily Mentor, and I think honestly that everyone should get this right, and they don't have to join Daily Mentor to get this right. But it's just knowing your numbers and forecasting the future. Those two things we didn't really have. We were running Oyo on intuition a little bit before on many things like sales, stock, and even like profitability. We were not even very aware of our profitability day to day, week to week. We just discovered profitability at the end of the month when we were doing, not even at the end of the month, 1 month after when we were doing the P&L for the month before. We're like, oh, we broke even. Oh, we thought we were, profitable. So it's a very reactive way to run your business. So when we joined Daily Mentor, the first thing we did was the report card, where you have like everything, all the tabs for all the things that you need: the P&L, the cash flow statement, the stock forecast, then a daily profit tracker. That was a big thing. Daily profit tracker changed a lot of things. You just face reality every single day, every single morning. You're like, oh, okay, this is reality. I thought it was something different. And then you just, when you know reality, when you have clarity on your numbers, you can not escape, the stories. Like you cannot escape the reality of your business. Are you efficient? Are you profitable? Are you cash positive or negative? Those things, they're on your face and you have to deal with them, and then they will guide your actions. Otherwise you won't survive, or you're just like plateau forever, and you don't want that. So that was number one thing for me. 1 year, it was 2022. So first year in business, we were doing well, we were scaling, we were growing. But at the end of the year, with my sister, when we were looking at the numbers for the year, but at the real numbers, we had to do the P&L and everything for the year. We realized we were not profitable at all. We were negative every single month almost. Maybe there was a few months that were profitable, but not enough to counterbalance the unprofitability of the business. And when we saw that, we were very angry at ourselves. We were mad, we were pissed, and but at the same time, it's again, you cannot escape reality. You
Yeah.
cannot escape numbers. But I think from that moment, because it hurt us so badly, in those moments, you have like a fog that dissipates, and you're like, okay, enough of bullshit, and then you cut everything that is not serving you, that is a distraction, that is too expensive, that is just not aligned with what makes this business a profitable business. So it forced us to do a big cleanup, and that was our first big cleanup of the business. And I think it was an amazing feeling after we did that, and we felt more in control.
Yeah, what specifically happened to make you unprofitable, and what did you uncover?
What we forgot to account for is VAT, because we were selling
Yeah.
in the UK, and VAT was there. And we thought, because we were based in Switzerland, VAT is not for us, but it was absolutely for us, and we forgot. And that's, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I know that pain too well. I've talked about that so many times on my channel that I just like, I'm hoping to eradicate the story going forward. But the ironic thing is, like, I know so many other $100 million founders that have also done the same situation. So for anyone watching, basically, if you're not charging sales tax in a certain region and you go over a threshold, eventually the region that you're selling in, it might be the UK, it might be Australia, most places have it, will say, okay, you owe us 10% of everything you've sold, or 15, 20% of everything you've sold, regardless if you've charged the customer or not. And then that basically, when you put that into all of your financial models, well, if you're running off 20% profit, suddenly now you have 0% profit, and it gets people, a lot of people unstuck. And this is, probably why you need the financial model from Daily Mentor.
Yeah,
We'll plug our
absolutely.
services there. Yeah.
Yeah, know your numbers. Absolutely. So what we did after 6 months in business, we realized that we were growing faster than we could purchase products. So essentially, we could not scale further because we didn't have the money for the POs, which is something we didn't have with dropshipping. That's not a problem you have with dropshipping, but with an e-com brand, it is. And like I said, we bootstrapped it. There was no investors, no nothing. And we are not really, we never wanted to fundraise any money for the business, or get anyone else externally to put money. We just wanted to do this ourselves, bootstrapping. But there was a point where, it's either we would be limited to grow or we would get some help. And we were looking for ways. We were in Switzerland at the time. We're looking for ways that could allow us to finance our growth without, like a heavy credit on your head, or without big limitations, or things like that. And so, but we were also very young in business, so we're not very confident about what we were having in our hands. So, like, who is going to give us the money for that? We don't need much, but who is going to give us the money? And so, my sister at the time, that was her job. She was looking for a bank in Switzerland that would give us like some money for the next PO. And she, prepared it very well. She put together a deck. Like, she did a very good job. Like, it looked like we were, launching a startup, but like, $1 million fundraise startup. And she just like called banks in Switzerland until one of them would agree to meet her. And then she presented the presentation, and she thought, it would be a no and the beginning of a series of no. But the bank said, okay, all right. And then they just gave us, at the time it was 50K, 50,000 Swiss francs line of credit, And for us, that was a massive win. Also insane that a bank that doesn't know us, we're new, we have a six
Yeah,
month old business, but we just like put this together, and with, the confidence that you presented it, the bank just said yes, very easily like that.
that's awesome. Well, if you don't ask, you don't get, right?
Exactly. And then
Yeah.
as we were growing, the bank was willing to follow our growth. And of course, you have to be careful with the line of credit. So we were very careful with that. We didn't want to be in debt. We just wanted to use this to fuel growth, and that's it. But not depend on that line of credit. But yeah, it was so easy to get it in Switzerland. At least I don't know how it is in other countries, but in Switzerland, it was like, yes, sure, of course, here you go. Come back
It's because
when,
you're
you
it's
know,
because you're trustworthy, I guess. It's
maybe,
the
maybe.
maybe.
Yeah.
It's good.
And another one that is very recent, I implemented it like last week, is to implement profit first. I have the book here.
It's a good book.
Yeah, it's a good book, and I think it also wires you, like it's a system that forces you to think about efficiency so that you get profit for yourself as a founder. So I think that's also very good.
Obviously, running a business is incredibly hard. You ran a business for an entire year, made no profit. That would have been heartbreaking, and I'm sure you've got 100 heartbreaking stories. Why do you run the business? What makes you keep going? Why is the business important to you?
Yeah, so I would say, first, I love building something on my own and not having to work for someone. That was the first motivator in the first place. Just like the freedom of creating something without owning anything to anyone. That was the first thing, and then with this freedom comes, of course, financial freedom, and I wanted to, be able to do whatever I wanted, without limitations. And a business, allows you to scale without limitations. So that was perfect. But then also to help my family, and my parents, who have given us a lot in our childhood. And like we had an amazing childhood with my sister. But there came a point where my parents were, struggling a little bit, and that was great timing because that's when we started the business, and the business started to do well for us. And we were able to help us very small at the beginning, when there were, I don't know, unexpected big bills, things like that. We were able to help them. But there were, bigger events and things that happened later, in relation with my father, for example, who was very sick, and had cancer. And it was last year, actually, in December. We were here in Cyprus because my parents moved here. And he fell one day,
Mm.
and he had to get operation, like surgery. But in Cyprus here, it's a small island. There's nothing. There's no like great doctors here for what needed to be done. And so, and my father was not on a health insurance outside of Switzerland. So the business allowed my sister and I to repatriate him to Switzerland, so that he could get surgery. And without that, without the business, we would never have been able to, because I don't know how much it costs to. I don't know what the word is, repatriate or.
Yeah, like extract, like
Uh,
is it in
you,
terms of move or
it's when the health insurance take picks you up with a plane and gets you
yeah,
back to the country.
evacuate kind of thing. Yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so it cost around $50,000 to do that,
Wow.
and we were able to, save our dad in that event, and those type of things, when you do them and you can do them, I think it's. I'm just very appreciative of the business for
Mm.
allowing us to do that, because then what? Then he would have stayed here with no great doctor
Mm.
and no great surgery. Would have been horrible. So that's something that the business allows you to do when there is a need in your family or in your surrounding. You can help.
That's an amazing story. I think, yeah, when people ask, like, oh, your life must be so hard, that kind of stuff. I think hard is when you're a mother of two and you can't afford groceries for your kids, or your parents get sick and there's literally nothing you can do. Well, that's truly hard. Obviously, there's days, us running a business that you wouldn't really want to give to your worst enemy if they're absolute nightmares. But I think the hard path is the easy path over the long term. So I'm sure your parents are they proud of you? I'm sure they've told you.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, of course they are.
Yeah.
And, they are entrepreneurs themselves, a bit scrappy in their own
Yeah.
way, but they inspired us to, run our own thing and not find a job after university, and especially my dad. So, yes, when they see that, like, yes, this is good. You
That's
jumped in
great.
the cold water, like he likes to say.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, they're very happy and proud, and of course they enjoy the wins and the lows with us. So that's good. That's good. They give us some company and they understand.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, look, I think it's inevitable, in my opinion, unless a meteor hits, that you're going to be an eight-figure brand and probably, hopefully, one day have a nine-figure exit. I think
Oh
that's
wow.
definitely on the cards, because just simply how you carried yourself through Daily Mentor, every single coach would agree with this. A lot of people, we give them, you talked about the report card helping you. We can give someone the report card, but they need to fill it out, right? And then they need to bring it to a coach, or like extract some insights from it, or at least when we give them some insights, actually go action them as well. And I think that's, we call that agency, right? Like the ability to get the results, kind of by yourself to an extent. And I think, yeah, you just constantly show high agency and manage to get those results. So, yeah, extremely happy that we've helped you, but also extremely appreciative that you've been part of it. It's been great to see you grow.
Yeah, well, I hope that all you say is going to happen.
It will.
We're still on a journey for sure. But yeah, I think when we started Oyo, we didn't think we would be able to, be where we are now so fast. I think we were dreaming of like at least, six-figure a month.
Mm.
That was our idea, our dream. And then it just like kept overpassing like what we thought was possible, and then you just keep growing. And I think when you love ecom and really love creating a brand, like I don't know, for me it's just natural to like find solutions, look for solutions, learn, and join daily mentor, and being following the
Mm.
advice, jumping on calls with mentors. All of that for me is very natural.
Mm.
So yeah, but thank you for creating Daily Mentor, because that was a big thing for us. I think that's why we're still here with my sister.
Yeah, appreciate it.
If you liked today's episode, make sure you go click the link below and check out Daily Mentor.